This is video 2 in the current era of Zirkzank Says, which is a video that I wish I didn't feel like I needed to make, but for some reason I do. I could try and explain why I think that is, but at this point, I'm sick of hearing myself try to explain things. It's become very annoying, actually. I know that that's not even something that you're supposed to do if you want it to be interesting, as I've read on the internet about guides on how to be interesting and guides on how to be cool and funny, because for some reason those things were quite intuitive and obvious as a child. Maybe it was due to the naivety and ignorance, but living in that blissful world of overconfidence and assuming that if anything that you thought, said, or did was funny seemed to be worth sharing, just do it anyway. There's definitely some truth to that. How much, though? I don't know. Will I try and analyze it? Probably. Is that a good idea? No. Definitely not. But it's gonna happen. I'll try and just, I guess, get it out of the way and say there are so many things wrong with the way I view productivity, what I've been trying to achieve with making videos, being entertaining, having a life in general, and it feels wrong and weird to try and talk about this stuff on a fucking video for a platform. The thing that I'm trying to do here, does it need explanation? Probably not. But there's just such a strong temptation constantly to try and explain things. I don't know why. I wish I knew why. Maybe if I did know why, I'd stop doing it. All I know is it doesn't feel good. It's mentally exhausting. I think it could be something to do with the fact that when you think you know everything, you don't try to find more answers. When you think you know the reason for things, you just accept that you know the reason and move on. You can very easily calm down when you know the answers to things, because the future's predictable and all the work has been done already, and that's cool. That's a great time to relax. I don't really feel like that is the case anymore in life these days, but I am approaching the next phase of my age. So as a preparation for that, I definitely want to get back into the skill of YouTube or X.com, which I might eventually transition to. Who knows? The future's exciting. I wanted to build my own website, but that's not a thing that you can do these days. I feel like if I say something like a statement, that the statement needs to be explained. So if I say, can't make a website anymore, that seems like something that needs a lot of explanation, because to me, I know what I mean when I say that, but within the context of this soundbite, that doesn't mean anything. So it's almost as if that didn't need to be said. So okay, I'm learning. I thought about the video I made last week, 2 weeks ago, but I made it last week in my head, because the other week that I had the opportunity, I just didn't get any opportunity to record a video. Like, I don't even want to be doing this right now because I don't feel in the right mood for this, but that's part of the trick to getting better at this, is that you just have to say, fuck it, there's no mood, that you can't summon a mood. You can try and cultivate it. You can use like cheap chemical tricks every now and again. I mean, I literally just ate a banana. This banana was still green. I'm not sure how good my old webcam is for this, but like this banana was still green. It had a crunch to it. It kind of, I felt it get all stuck in my teeth. But the point of the banana is that like you can do some chemical hacks. It's called bioengineering. Probably never heard of this. Click the bar up here and wait for the flashing cursor and type in bioengineering. Or anything else. Type funny cat videos up there and then press enter. There you go. That's the best advice that I could ever provide to anyone on here, which is really strange that that's all I'm trying to do. And it seems that the advice hasn't really ever been helpful, except it should be, right? At this point, what are we on? Fucking episode 165 at this point, meaning that I've, for 165 like separate individual attempts at trying to understand everything that there is to understand in the universe, about life itself, and then just kind of say it out loud casually and then upload that as a video. But it's still not working. How many more times do I have to do this to try and figure everything out all at once and then share it with the world? Like, how hard can it be to do that? It seems like it should be really easy to do, but it just isn't. Or maybe I'm being a pussy. Can I even say that anymore? Who the fuck knows? Can I say fuck? I don't care. I did anyway. This channel or this platform is just not monetized anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm debating right now whether to read from these notes that I have made or whether to continue trying to improvise. Ultimately, I believe that I am definitely getting more and more comfortable with the process of just sitting in a room on my own, talking into a camera, well, speaking into the microphone and talking at the camera, to be very specific about it and pedantical. Yes. The notes that I wrote are notes that I wrote after the video I made previously to try and give a more structured and more guided discussion. Basically, to avoid waffling and rambling and to make sure that every thought would come back round to create a cohesive argument or a cohesive point. Essentially, the writing technique that was used for school students or explained to school students in most places, which is make a point, give evidence to support the point, and then explain the point. And then, if you get really fancy, you can link that to another point. These days, really all I can do is the explain and link part. I don't really make many points, and I really don't have evidence. And I'm not sure why it is. I think it could be to do with the severe decline in my mental health, my cognitive ability, aging and mood and conditioning. But it could be just that I haven't had enough chalky milk. Oh, that's better. Hey, I feel silly now. That's cool. Yay. Yeah, I'm me again. There's also this big problem I faced recently, which is that, well, it's not very recent. This is a problem I've been kind of living with now for about 4 years, which is that at some point, for like no reason, my throat just gave way, and I can't access certain pitches anymore without the assistance of poking it. It's literally misaligned. It's asymmetrical now, and so this might sound like a very, very self-obsessed, narcissistic, disgusting, weird concept, but I don't like the sound of my own voice anymore, and I definitely used to. The reason I used to is because I spent hours and hours a day practicing, not with the intent of practicing, but just accidentally practicing vocal exercises, because for some reason, as a young child, I didn't fear the consequences of just doing impersonations, impressions, accents, that sort of thing. It just seemed like the right thing to do all the time. And that vocal control even extended into singing. So I always just thought, yep, in the future I'll do voice acting and I'll do singing. And then at some point, some incident happens, and then that's it. I can't do any voice acting or any singing anymore, and I can't even speak normally, or at least at the correct tone and pitch that is required to sound interesting or engaging to people. So now I'm just stuck with this horrible, annoying monotone voice. Maybe I could change my accent and that would fix things a little bit. Maybe I could just do like a deeper voice. I don't even know what deep is. Deep is like, deep is more bass, less control. It doesn't work anymore. The throat. So I would say that point that I want to try and bring it back to, about not enjoying the process of making a video, not enjoying the exploration of improvising and content. I do eventually want to get back to making some form of content and doing things without so much fear of consequences, if that is even possible to do. I'd always seen this as a very strange coincidence that between the ages of 0 to 14, I lived completely consequence-free. As in, there were consequences, but I didn't think about them. I didn't care about them. Those were never on my mind. I just did moment to moment whatever I wanted. But then the consequences of my actions just caught up with me to such an extreme degree that it literally caused me to have to go through a full psychological reevaluation of myself, and it kind of swung way too far into the self-censorship, self-restrictive mode of being, and that has happened basically now, just coincidentally. I kind of realized that 14 years later. So age 0 to 14, freedom. Age 14 to 28, restriction. Now, is age 28 to 30, to age 28 to 42, is this going to be the period? I need to just check that I did that mathematical correct in my head. The fucking point is, the next 14 years, are they gonna be swinging back fully into pure chaos? Am I gonna go to prison? Like that's what that's completely possible. Am I gonna become homeless? Am I gonna end up? I think that there's a lot of appeal to the idea of becoming homeless to me, because the freedom that comes with having nothing is it's very tempting. But at the same time, I think maybe the ultimate lesson is that you can't have too much freedom, but you can't have too much restriction. So you need to get a very, very happy balance of both, because full freedom of just doing anything constantly all the time without fear of consequences will ultimately, due to a few mistakes, cause you quite a terrible life. It may be a short life that goes well, but also maybe not so much. Who knows? You don't know until you try and find out. That's a genuine philosophy. It's worth gambling to try and find out what happens when you just follow that route. But being a little bit more conservative, could it be useful? Could there be some benefit in that? Having a fallback so you can explore the crazy ideas, say insane things, have a really good time, but also when things do go badly, you kind of got a little bit of a cushion to fall back on. But just having just a cushion, just the safe life, just the same thing over and over again, a boring, meaningless existence that consists only of earning money to pay for a house so that you can sleep and eat food in the house, and then continue to do that for years and years until you're too old to actually have thoughts anymore, and you finally get the freedom that you've always wanted to have. You get to be a child again because you're old and demented and nobody cares what you say or do again. It's the ultimate freedom, but you don't get to play because you're falling asleep all the time because you're old. You can't do anything physical because your body is decaying. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to any of that, and I forgot again why I was even on this rant. I think it was something to do with balance. That's it. Balance. See, I remembered something. I'm improving at this, and I feel good about that.
The next thing to do would be to try and remember how to communicate ideas in a voice that is not my own voice.
See, this is the thing these days, this fear of consequences, that if I spontaneously felt like speaking in an accent that didn't match my skin color or my ethnic background, then would that mean that I have to go to prison? That could do. So this is what I'm talking about with this fine line of just going with the flow, letting the universe channel its creativity and its ideas through me, being an antenna for ideas and just free-flowing thought to just beam out. Some of that will be offensive to some people, and I don't care that it's offensive to those people. I don't care about offending or upsetting anybody through just making words and noises. But unfortunately, this is the trap. This is where we've reached this point in society where I don't care about the feelings of people, but unfortunately the feelings of the way that my life is, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Consequences, your family members and your finances, your ability to survive. You become dependent on the system, and then if you criticize the system, that's it. You are punished by the system. It sounds very, very schizophrenic, and unfortunately, that's probably where we're at right now. So, I think that's a topic for another video. That's something I'm going to be saying very, very frequently, because too many things have happened. Too many things have happened in the past 100,000 years to be just talked about in one video. It's going to need at least 6 more, and in those 6 videos, I think it will eventually kind of just culminate it all, and then we can go back to playing Beyblades finally. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. Now, I would feel so stupid about the past version of myself, because if I didn't actually try to read the notes that I've just had in front of me this entire time, not being read, that I think that it's actually funny for me to just read these verbatim, kind of like as if I've paid myself to do it, but not really understanding the context in which they were written, because the idea of these notes has been that I look at the note, it'll trigger some thought, but ironically, the first bullet point on the notes list is that having notes is useful, but it isn't. So immediately that one is just, that's wrong, that's bullshit. I think, is there a way that I can just get the notes on here? Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Look, this is professional. This is probably the most professional video that I've ever made, because it involves like a combination of technology. Having notes is useful. You can put dates and times in here. That's what I actually meant by the first topic bullet point on here, which is that doing any mathematics on the fly is easier if you don't have to. Like if you can just you can pre-calculate any values that you were going to say, or if you're going to talk about something. This is me giving a guide to the aspiring Zirkzank Says. Anyone who wants to make a podcast like this is what you got to do. Listen, and I know you would want to do this because it's brought me so much happiness and joy in life, and so much financial success. It's brought me a sense of freedom and power, and it's given me a lot of value in life. I mean, I kind of like blending this sarcastically in here, but like this truly is like the only thing I have going for me in life is this channel, is this outlet. So let's continue. It's a video for me, by me, to me, from me. It's very, very, very focused around that. The hope about the purpose of uploading these videos to a public platform, though, is primarily just for providing a type of evidence that, or example, ideas to just to propagate ideas, so that if anyone does stumble across this, that they can just extract some value from this, because it's not up to me to determine what that value is. I think that's the point. That's something I wanted to talk about in the next video. That's episode 166. That's about art, and how it's not up to you what value you extract from it, and it's not up to me what value I think I'm trying to provide, even though that's what I essentially are constantly trying to do, to no avail. So let's literally just let's get back into reading these fucking notes that are not helpful. Yeah, let's fucking zoom in. Oh yeah, that's great. Control plus. Yeah, fuck yeah. Get these notes nice and big. Can put time and dates in here. Ooh, that's amazing. Then it can be factually accurate with the content of the video. That's fucking exciting. Put links to things in here so that I can click on them and then derail the discussion of the video. That's cool. The topic is brute force embarrassment, a cleansing experience of embarrassing yourself. Hitting the bottom only means you can go up or stay there. Let's keep it real, right? That's like, a lot of these thoughts make sense at the time, but then you write them down and then they no longer mean the same thing. learn to be comfortable with cringing. That's actually an interesting one, where I've been doing this the opposite way around, which is that I've been trying to kill the part of me that is cringe, and not the part that cringes. Obviously, yeah, I've not done a very good job of killing the part that is cringe. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, fuck you. But also, I don't care. That's the point, is I do care too much. I never used to. Why do I care now? I don't know. Can I go back? Probably. Does it require brain damage? Maybe. I don't want to kill myself, but also living with this type of anxiety is very stressful. Anyway, killing the part of you that cringes, not the part that is cringe. I feel like I tried to talk about this once, and I don't know if it really hit through. I saw it on a meme once, and the meme made me have a great realization about actually how profound this It's just saying that it's authentic. It says it here, that it's interesting and unique. There's a prompt here that I should screech. Am I a cuck who listens to the? Am I a beta male? Am I a beta male subordinate that listens to a younger version, a less wise version of myself? Fuck no. I'm not gonna screech. Fuck you, Zirkzank from 2 weeks ago. That's genuinely. Am I cringing at what I said in the past, though? And now I've put myself in a difficult position where it seems like if I do screech, I'm a cuck. But if I don't screech, then I'm cringe and I'm being disingenuous. Let's just continue being disingenuous. Okay, make pauses. Oh, fuck. I did that already. See, I think right now I'm realigning my brain with the past version of myself. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I would always recommend people to do. If you think that you had some good ideas back then, go and re-examine them and see if you did. Because most of the time, you actually might have. And you just forgot them, or you were too busy. Like that's what ended up happening here, is that I just didn't have time to continue making a video. The previous video I made was an hour long, and I just didn't have time to continue making it, so I started writing things down afterwards, later. But then that was after I had made the video, going to do something that I had to do. I went rock climbing, and then I came back, and then I could no longer make videos. It was no longer light, and I no longer had the right peace available. Peace and quiet available in the household. So yeah, I started making notes, and now I realized that the whole key here is that awkwardness is funniness. So yeah, penis. It's not awkward though, is it? But if I just sit and drink. More chocolate milk. Maybe I need another banana. Maybe I should just fucking stick a banana in my ass, and that would just be better content. Oh, hey, here's a fucking sneak preview about the art video. Content is generated to extract something from the consumer, which is time or money. It's just seductive lies and exploitation. Art actually provides enlightenment. So I think that's actually something that I need to stop saying, because I don't believe that I want to be a content producer or a content creator. I don't want to say I want to be an artist, because that just sounds horrible. I do, but I don't, because who the fuck wants to be an artist? You just want to make art. You don't want to be an artist. You just want to make art. I don't know. Making art seems like the only thing that's making art and reproducing seem like the only things worth doing in life. And so, why the fuck do anything else? And when I say art, I don't discount it. Like, I need to say this in the other video because there's so much left of these fucking notes to go through. Art does include not recorded art, and it does include conversation. I wanted to talk about how art includes like something that you record in your brain and then put into someone else's brain through conversation. That can be art. So when I say that the only things that matter are art and reproduction, I'm not saying that social things are not important, because social things, when they're done with sincerity, they are art. Reproduction is sex art? Well, you have to watch the next video. I'm not gonna keep going down this route. Holy fuck, Jesus Christ. This is what I was talking about earlier about this explain link. Never any point or evidence. Add many points and evidence that can back up what I'm saying, but you just have to take my word for it, because how the fuck else would you know if it's true or not? Just trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. I know this is true. Where even did I get to on this? Learn to laugh at yourself. Learn to relax and not care. Use intonation and pacing, etc. Like, yeah, just do everything else, right, etc. Like, all of it. Just figure out what it all is, and then just do it. These are fucking excellent notes, and I am thankful that I had the foresight to produce this. This is excellent stuff. Skills require practicing and honing. If I keep making the same video 100 times until it gets good, then I can compare video number 1 to video 100. That would be actually exciting. This guy knows what he's talking about. This is smart shit. Oh, cool! Look, the arrow, the positioning of this is in the correct place. That's so cool. Look at that. Wow, I'm touching the words. But no, this seems obvious, but it needs to be explained that that's essentially, that's an epiphany that I had. There's a lot packed into this. And so I needed to take a drink so that I could explain that doing the same thing 100 times with the intention of getting better each time. Thinking about what you're doing, observing it, and then acting on it, improving. That seems useful and feasible and sensible and possible and a good thing to do. But also the idea that you get to do it 100 times. Like, that in and of itself is a huge motivator. Feeling as if you're on a time limit and that you only get one shot to do this. It puts a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, and I think it really does close off this useful, the most important part of the brain for open thinking gets shut down by being stressed out and worrying that it has to be perfect. It's a cure to perfectionism, really, or fear of failure is thinking that, okay, you get to fail 100 times, but even then it's the arbitrary number. It looks cool to have on there to say, oh yeah, 100 videos, cool, but it could be 1,000. You could spend your entire life trying to do it. Oh, but what if I'm about to die and I still didn't do it? Like, yeah, okay, but the pursuit of trying to do something and failing at it for like 80 years or 70 years or 30 years, I'm not going to kill myself at 30. I'm probably just going to die next year instead. The idea that you, at least trying stuff is much more based. It's very let's use modern terminology. We're in the modern times. It's fucking 2023. It won't be for long, but because it's October right now, but it's 2023. It's more based to attempt to do things than it is to just sit around not attempting things. You can criticize anything, but really criticizing people's attempts is actually insane. I'm not even going to criticize the fact that people who sit around criticizing others despite doing nothing is a bad thing, because I know that. That's why I'm not doing nothing right now. That's why I'm doing something right now. Because I'm sick of doing nothing, so I have to do something. If you don't feel like that, why? Ask yourself, why have you been doing this? Like, just go do things. Like, by all means, continue the video, but seriously, it's so stupid to just not do things. And yeah, that's another video. That'll be episode 167, I guess, where we talk about the fear of death and how to overcome death anxiety. That'll be a fun video. That's kind of what all of these videos have been so far, but let's try and stay on topic here. This is where it gets interesting, really. There's a duality that I've noticed between myself. The older version of me, which is who I am now, feels wiser and wants to talk to the young version of me to give him advice and warnings. Like, how the fuck does this work? I need to put this down here for this to work correctly. When you get older, you feel as though everything should have been super obvious to you when you were younger, because the evidence was there, you just couldn't see it, which is, it's needless to say, these are things that your parents and teachers and just everyone around you who is older, and even other kids who were your age that just knew something that you didn't know, try and tell you. You can't believe them. You can't believe what other people tell you, because you have to experience it for yourself. It's the only way you can truly believe that, except in order to believe that, you have to get all of this experience. And so the experience takes time, and then all the time has passed, and then you realize at a certain point it's just like, well, you could not have listened to the warnings because you could not have believed them. Like, telling your younger version of yourself to make better use of your time and not to go down this dead end or that dead end, or even just this fucking stupid idea that if you could go back in time and tell your younger self, hey, buy Bitcoin when it's like fucking $1 each or £1 each, or even cheaper or slightly more expensive, because it doesn't fucking matter, because it's worth, like, I don't know, something like £28,000 right now. That's just a rough guess. I think it probably is, because I checked this morning. I don't check that often, but this coincidentally it's been up recently, which is good. But also it could go way more up. Who knows? In 10 years time from now, in the year 20, what would be 10 years from now? Nothing. The universe is over. So we don't need to think that far ahead. Before that happens, yes, Bitcoin could be worth more. But it's stupid to look back and try and say, yeah, you should have bought Bitcoin when you didn't know about it, because I came to realize that if you had done that and you didn't fully understand it, you'd just be afraid the entire time, and you'd probably sell it. You'd sell it too early, or you'd sell it too late, or you wouldn't sell it at all, or you would just be anxious the entire time. It's like, you need to understand the advice, and the only way you can understand the advice is by being the person who gives it. So there's an element of translation there. So that just goes back in something I wanted to talk about in the video that's called art. And I think that will eventually transition into something more translatable and more relatable of a topic that isn't just rambling about random shit. Anyway, sometimes it's the other way around, which is unfortunately that it's unintuitively and also unfortunately that there are shouts from the younger version of me trying to give advice to the current version of me. Like, there are definitely things that he knew more about than I do now, and in many ways I look up to the person that I was as a role model and valued the advice. So this becomes a little bit of a predicament where you think that actually maybe something's gone wrong here, or maybe this is not true, where in fact there was a younger version that just had more insight and confidence and was maybe more intelligent and more handsome and had a better sounding voice and was really just had more time. This was literally a better person. So why is there an issue now? Because it shouldn't be that way, right? Life should be a constant uphill improvement. You should constantly be on a positive trajectory. Well, I mean, like, is that reasonable? That's what it should be. That's what it would be good for it to be. But it turns out, like, you can just go backwards. You can stagnate. You can go backwards. But it's probably needless for me to say that would suck. Don't do that. It's pretty obvious given the circumstances that we got to up at this point. So let's try and just continue through this fucking point. So I think the point is that it goes both ways constantly. There's a bit of a balance here. The younger version of you knows some things, and then the older version of you knows some things. So this is probably a normal process of learning, but it feels weird to me that I've only just started to notice this happening now, and that I have personified two versions of myself. This is quite deep now, because I don't remember writing this. I don't remember writing this. It feels weird. The past version of me feels like a real separate person. I don't know if that's just because I'm dramatizing things or because it's because of the videos. But it does feel like I'm genuinely a separate individual person. Why did I feel the need to write this? I think maybe this was me just trying to explore the idea of the fact that it could maybe this is not normal, maybe this is normal. I don't know. Is this something that people do when they learn? Is that they mentally separate themselves out into like the good version and the bad version, the young version and the old version? And why is there no future self? Is it because you can't personify who you are in the future without believing that it's possible or seeing this person? But in order to believe who I was and thought I was as a person in the past is possible because it's on video? Who knows? Who cares? Perhaps this isn't supposed to be the case. Perhaps it's supposed to feel more consistent. This is literally what I just said, I think, now. But the transition flow should make more sense. That's possibly due to having a healthy mind that is not repressing a lot of the trauma and failing to process the experiences. Maybe that's what's caused the gap. I'm just borrowing this because I've heard in fucking psychology about how people experiencing trauma end up blocking out sections of their life, and so it's like the psychological equivalent of being in a coma and then waking up later having no memory of the things that have happened while you're in a coma, or like amnesia. That's memory loss, but instead of memory loss, it's memory loss and processing loss, as in you just lose out on the ability to have processed things. So it just feels like you've jumped from point A to point C without really understanding there was a point B. There was a point B. I went from point A to point B. I walked there, and then from point B to point C, I took the bus because I was tired of walking. But it's like, I got from point A to point C. How? But it's like you have no idea of what happened in between, and it becomes very stressful because you just have no connection with the past version of yourself. I don't think I've experienced anything that traumatic other than work. Maybe it's just to do with being like mentally ill, but for some reason, working has caused me to feel like I'm in constant stress and trauma all the time. But hey, there's only 35 more years of that left to go through, so it's not so bad. Get to retire with dementia and chronic anxiety and stress if I make it that far. So that's very exciting. Let's get back to this. Perhaps it's supposed to flow better if you don't repress things and you don't have a gap, figuring out who you are and how you got there. Oh, and then here's some like whining shit about saying that, boy, I don't like it here and I liked it more back there. Wah. No, okay, yeah, this rebuttal is smart because this is literally exactly what I was going to say. There are obviously elements of the past that sucked and elements of the present that are alright, but still, there's this rose-tinted goggles thing where you everyone genuinely thinks about the past as being a lot better than it is, because just there's a tendency, of course, to forget about the bad things, because you forget about a bad thing that happened, specifically how it happened, not how it happened or why it happened, but the fact that it did happen, and then you just extract out of that and say, okay then, if you eat bread, you'll get inflammation and you'll feel tired. So, don't eat bread. You can forget about the times you ate bread because who gives a shit, right? It's just that's not the useful information there. You don't have to remember all of the saliva, the chewing, and the flavors and the textures. You don't have to remember that. You don't have to remember each time you ate bread and then how it felt afterwards to just feel a little bit like sore under the eyes and lethargic, and start having all of your joints hurting from all of the gluten. You don't need to remember that. All you need to remember is don't eat bread. It's much simpler, shorter little snippet, and then you can focus on the good memories of how fun video games were, and cartoons, and running through the forest and climbing trees. You know, the writing, making clay models, animations, watching videos on YouTube, all of the exciting, thrilling things that you would have done as a child. Those things can be focused on, but obviously there are things that sucked, but thinking about things that sucked in the past doesn't make you feel better, but thinking about things that were good can give you a sense of like evidence that I know that things in the future can be good because things in the past were good, which means good things are possible, which is like, fuck yeah, that's optimistic. That's worth thinking about. Good things are possible. I know they're possible. And that's optimistic. That's optimism. That's useful. And then the advice from do something and then a bad thing happens. Remember what to do or what not to do, but forget about the negative experience. I think I've over-explained that. Good. How do you bridge the gap between things? Just goes back to the other point I was making. Well, simply acknowledging the existence of a gap by accident may or may not be significant. It could be a useful exercise to attempt to bridge it, but it also may be dangerous or entirely pointless. I think this is just a thought process that happened way later, and there's this fucking thing about the quoting from the Talking Heads song. Well, how did I get here? This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. Am I right or am I wrong? The point of that really is just that the song is called Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads, and it's got a really great dance component to it in the music video. But this is essentially what this is about, I think. It's this part where you just have no clue about how you get to where you are. Or maybe I'm just being silly and naive. Maybe there's some other deep meaning to it that I didn't understand, but that's something we can talk about in the art episode. It's nothing to do right now. Main points between late 2017 to late 2023. I could look at it and say that was, for me, where things have seemed to go different. But the biggest problems that I have now may be problems that I did used to have and I just didn't realize. But who knows? Who cares? Let's see. Feeling anxious about the future instead of excited for it. Well, that's fucking stupid. Like I said, the future can be good. So why not expect it to be good? Do you have some reason to think that it won't be? Fucking, that's loser think. Even if you're wrong, it's still more useful to think that the future's going to be better. Even if it's not, it's just more useful to think optimistically. Thinking pessimistically is just, that's brain damage. It's garbage. That's doo-doo thinking. Don't do that. That's me, telling you, telling anyone. That's stupid. You obviously you can't just change that on the spot, but it is stupid. Not needless to say. I have a lot more things I'm attached to or worried to lose. Yeah, I live in this house now, so there's that. Having a relationship as well, having a job, you know, that there are things that you become attached to, and it's like, well, fuck. Now I can understand why that it seems very, very intuitive and obvious to me. This Greek philosopher Diogenes, who lived in a barrel and was just, you know, gave completely no shits about anything. It's like, well, if you have nothing to lose, then you have true freedom. So then not having the worry of loss, one thing less to worry about. Cool. What else is there to worry about when you have nothing? Nothing. No, it's simple. This doesn't need to be explained, but the real question is, are you willing to lose things in order to no longer have the fear of losing them? Or do you actually need those things? Do you actually want those things? Have you actually reached a point where you've decided that for the rest of your life you're actually going to have to learn how to deal with the fear of loss? Because you'll lose your life, you'll lose your friends, you'll lose your family, you will lose your health, you'll lose everything eventually. So you kind of just have to learn how to live with that fear. Anyway, moving on. I don't feel competent or useful or interesting. I don't feel competent in any useful or interesting skills anymore. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about voice acting, I think, for me, but this is just another true thing for everyone. This is fucking true for everyone. If you don't feel like you're good at doing anything, you won't have any confidence, because all of your confidence comes from skill, being good at something or doing something well, or just thinking that you're good at something. That's literally the Dunning-Kruger effect, is the idea that you don't know enough about something, so you think you're an expert at it, and then you feel really, really good about yourself. Yeah, it's better to feel good about yourself than to feel bad about yourself in general terms. But if you actually have the skill and competence to back that up, that's probably better. I don't know. I don't think I'm hitting on anything profound here. There's more I had to say on this, but I'm getting fucking exhausted. This is probably just whining and moaning to say that I'm not physically healthy due to aging. There are things you can do about this, but as far as this goes, this whole bridging the gap and realizing how you get here and where you go to from here, like, trying to take care of your health. I'm not going to go into this topic. I just wanted to make these brief points to say that when you compound all of these things from this list, it's like it makes sense why you would feel like the past is better than the future or the present, and then wondering how you get here. It's like, well, how does this happen? Aging. Well, if you're not paying attention to it, then you will just suffer. If you don't do daily stretches and exercises and you don't eat healthy foods, yeah, you're gonna just start to feel like shit. If you don't do good cardio workout, then yeah, your heart is just gonna start failing. So yeah, have cold showers, go for a run, just do exercise so that you can keep some level of resistance. To be honest, the way I've found exercising and health to be most beneficial and most useful in my experience has always been to just do it in a way where it's fun, something fun. Like, I found rock climbing to be very fun, and going to the gym and lifting weights, that's not very fun. Sorry gym bros, sorry lifters, sorry friends who do this, but that's not fun. If it is fun, that's what you got to do, but you have to find something fun that's physically engaging to do. I dare even say, maybe this is a little bit off topic, but even masturbating, for some people, is a form of exercise that can make or break the difference between being unhealthy or not. And so like that's obviously the physical act of masturbating, the arm movement and the cardio and the posture and so on, like that may have health benefits. I don't know, but there are definitely for a lot of people psychological problems that come along with that. So use that with caution. Maybe that's bad advice. Just get into rock climbing. If we forget about masturbating. Just goes back to me not being able to make voices or sing anymore. I feel like I'm tired all the time, too tired all the time to do anything. Yeah, because that just happens as you age. Time passes even quicker than it used to, and it will continue to do so. There's a Vsauce video on YouTube that talks about why this is. Is this a real phenomenon? Yes, it's because of the lack of novelty. The more you think you know the way things are gonna turn out in life, the less new things are to you, the more assumptions you make about the world, and so the more shortcuts you're relying on, and the less novelty you experience. The things that you take for granted, you possibly never used to know about. So, like, it could be everything. Just watch that video, I would say, because that explains it better than I can be bothered to do so right now. But this is a true phenomenon that if you don't realize that this is normal and that you need to continue to have novelty in life, then it will just continue to feel as if time is passing quicker and quicker. And if you have this fear of loss and aging and death anxiety, then pairing that with the fact that time's getting quicker and you have less time, even less time, it means that the less time that the little time that you have remaining is gonna just continue to fucking disappear even quicker. So best not to think about it, or try and find novelty. Just going to different places and trying new things that you want to do is what definitely gonna slow things down. I think time slows down pretty much every day when I have to do work, but then it speeds up as soon as I'm finished. So 9 to 5, very, very slow, and then 5 p.m. to midnight, very, very quick. Crazy. Yes, very, very normal thing. Memory's getting worse, and that'll continue to happen. This is probably the saddest thing. Not being able to do voice acting for me in combination with the memory getting worse means that I can't make a point and then I can't do the point, evidence, explanation, and link. It's just endless explanation because I can't remember the point that I was trying to make. So you have to just start writing things down, like, or you have to just pick a small domain of things to focus on. Also, it really affects your ability to have interesting conversations if all you do is autistically recite facts and you can't remember the facts that you were trying to recite. You simply just sat doing nothing. Or right now, like, I can't remember why I wrote this stuff. I'm just hoping that I remember, but it's not happening. I already talked about the fucking aging, responsibility, and consequences. These things are paired up, but yeah. I think I spoke about the fact that nobody tells you this, and that even when they do, it doesn't make sense. But you can't believe what people tell you about the consequences of actions until you've actually experienced it or seen it happen enough times in movies or in real life around you to actually believe it. But whatever. Here's something that becomes more and more personal again, is that I don't make videos anymore, I don't make art anymore, I don't make people laugh anymore, I can't make myself laugh anymore. That's probably the saddest thing, is if you stop being able to make yourself laugh anymore, then that's it. You're basically dead on the inside. That's like the peak of depression. And I don't think that it's gonna be true forever, and I think that people can get out of this. But holy shit. When I wrote this down, it did actually strike me that that's probably a problem. That's probably not a good thing. Like, yeah, so what? You can't make your friends laugh. So what? You can't make your partner laugh. So what? You can't make people, strangers on the internet, laugh. That doesn't matter, really. But if you can't make yourself laugh, then that's a real problem. Because that's how you... That's literally your ability to see humor and joy in the world. If that lens has just been blurred... That's a nice metaphor. If that lens gets blurred or cracked, that's probably what a better metaphor. Cracked lens for viewing the world. It just ain't funny anymore. And that goes, like, I've gone back and watched things that I used to find funny, like videos, music, films, comedy sketches, and just all of those things. It's just not that knowing the punchline is not what makes it unfunny. It's just knowing seeing the punchline with a cynical mindset and thinking, this was never funny. This could never have been funny. Why the fuck would anybody ever find this funny? Why would I find this funny? This is stupid. This is lame. That's a good mindset. Yeah, I promote that. No, that was sarcasm. Definitely need to clarify, because without the ability to use intonation, you can't tell when there's sarcasm and when there's not. So now we move on to the next thing. Oh, here's another problem. Here's more complaining. I can't focus on anything for more than 5 to 10 minutes without interruption, or I've been conditioned to fear the interruption of being distracted from the task, meaning that I can't work on long-term projects or have deep thoughts anymore. I can't even watch films or listen to albums. That kind of goes back into what I was saying before. Other than not being able to see the value or the having the correct lens to view things through, is simply just not being able to focus on them for long enough without the fear of being interrupted. That's crazy. It's just this constant fear that you're going to have to go and do something or deal with a different problem that you just don't want to have to deal with. I don't know why. That seems to have always been life. That is life. You always have to be on alert. Living in the wilderness, you're a monkey in a tree. Let's like take this back to our ancestorship, where it's like, yeah, you always have to be alert for a threat and be ready to deal with it. So why would being afraid of a threat cause you to not be able to focus? I don't know. Some inner peace. I don't know why this is. I need to figure this out. This is what I said. I'm trying to bridge a gap. I don't know why this is. Oh, fuck off. whoever wrote this is just fucking. This guy. I think at a certain point this guy was just writing down and then just started to get a little bit sappy and really pulling on that self-pity, because this is crazy, right? This is normal shit. This is normal. This is what we do in society, right? You have a house, but it costs time and money. Like, oh, what are you're gonna cry about the fact that you've got a house, and like, oh, you're gonna cry about the fact you got. It doesn't feel natural. I'll admit it. Just doesn't feel natural. But hey, this is fucking its whole other topic that I'm not gonna get into right now, because this should be episode 169 video, talking about relationships. I don't think I'm ready to give relationship advice on the internet. That seems like probably the least interesting thing to discuss. As I said, two most important things in life are art and reproduction. Well, art and survival. I put reproduction in the survival category. So yeah, art and reproduction, it's like this is its own very specific subset of that, about how the projects of art, the projects of life, and the projects of survival, blah 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 blah. There's something about having to protect your family, and you no longer have to think about yourself, you have to think about others. No, I don't have children. That may be what it comes out of this, but there's this sense that if you didn't expect this to happen, to then all of a sudden feel like you can't create your magnum opus anymore, it's a very strange feeling to have had. In fact, despite the fact that you haven't expelled all of your temptations to do this, to explore new ideas, to take risks, but then you can't take the risks anymore. You can't explore the ideas anymore because there are consequences. Not even like severe consequences, but just the fact that there's a lot less freedom. That's all I'm trying to say here, is that as you age, you feel like there's less freedom, because there kind of is. And then, holy fuck, let's try and get back to this. I don't think this is true for everyone, but still, some elements of it are. I'm trying to make this as relatable as possible. Oh, here it is. I'm complaining about how I used to enjoy being alone. This is the thing. Being lonely was horrible and miserable, and everyone knows this. Everyone knows that it is horrible and miserable. But then when you're not lonely anymore, you're 24/7 like not lonely. There's a different side of that coin, which is that you take for granted what it felt like to be lonely, and it's very. This just goes back to this thing I was saying about not being able to believe the advice or understand the talking points that people around you are making constantly, which is like you can't understand why would you be worried about not getting enough alone time when you're alone 99% of the time. Like, a lonely person can't understand how lucky they are, because they're not lucky. Being lonely sucks. But then when you are not lonely and you do want to be lonely, man, life is a fucking crazy bitch. That's for sure. It's like the thing you're trying to fix. Well, maybe this was a shock going into the deep end. I think that was just to say that being in this process of this lifestyle feels like the Talking Heads song, Once in a Lifetime. I think I will figure out a way to adjust and balance, bring back the elements of chaos, maintain the elements of order, age 0 to 14, freedom, age 14 to 28, just complete lockdown restriction of life. There were obviously some good points during that, I think, and that needs to be said. I enjoyed university for the most part. I enjoyed having friends at university. I enjoyed partying afterwards for a while. Obviously, I enjoyed the experience of falling in love. I enjoy relationship. I enjoy the freedom of having a house, but the fact that like you don't actually have freedom, like it's a weird thing to say. Like it is better, but in some ways it's worse. Doesn't fucking matter. It's gone on for way too long, this video at this point. And then some afterthoughts, some afterthoughts. These are afterthoughts that came after the afterthoughts, that came after the afterthoughts. Okay, the afterthoughts that came after the afterthoughts, that came after the afterthoughts. Like, there's too much thinking going on here. That's a problem. I'll address that in the next video about art. There'll be no thinking. That's how you make art, right? No thinking. You don't think, you just make it. You just do it. That's why it's art. There's no thinking involved. It's just creating. And anyway, but that's the next video. That's not this video. When you're young, you don't know anything. Equals bullshit. I knew how to play and have fun. I knew how to make friends. I knew how to stand up for myself. I knew how to be authentic. I knew how to make... Oh, back to this art shit. Back to being authentic and stuff. Cool. Perhaps naivety and unawareness and ignorance, etc. were factors. But still, this is an unfinished thought. That's truly an unfinished thought that never got anywhere. And I can see why now. How do you bring the good elements of the past into the present to make the future better? I still don't know, and it's been a while. I think that I'm starting to realize that maybe it's impossible to really know all of this stuff. You just do it by accident sometimes, and that's kind of the best you get. Maybe. We'll see. That's what evidence tells me so far, is that you just have to kind of hope that it goes well. But I think that there might be more that you can do to change this. Episode 168 or 167 is going to be the episode about free will. One of them was going to be about memes, and the other one was going to be about relationships. So that's the future now. I'm going to go throw away this banana peel because it's just been sat in front of me for like an hour and a quarter, and I can only smell banana right now.